Good morning, everybody. Colin, Tansley and Peter Taylor doing your weekly Risk Watchdogs Live.
Good morning, everybody, and good morning, Colin, as well.
Good morning, Peter. Okie dokie, we'll get straight to it, shall we?
Yeah.
Over to you, my friend.
Yeah, so the purpose of Risk Watchdogs stays the same each week, which is to try and share knowledge around fraud and cyber risks, raise awareness, and to help with ideas and suggestions around crime prevention. So we're talking about financial crime, fraud, etc.
Absolutely. And one thing I would say is, if you're watching this and you've got things to, comments or things to say, just put it into the chat. We'd love to hear from you. It's always nice to know people are listening and benefiting from this, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
I do know that because people tell me that, but also if you don't know us and you've got something to say, feel free. We want to know we're adding value, I suppose, is what I would say.
Yeah.
And like that, I just got an email. Okay, so I'm going to get a touch on a couple of things this week, but both are quite important in their own right. The first one, and I mentioned this on Cyber Bites on Monday, was a data breach. It would appear that a website called Gun Trader, a perfectly legitimate website where firearms owners buy and sell their weapons, licensed firearm and dealers. It would appear the data has been breached in some way. I'm not overly clear just how yet. I'm not sure they are. But what's happened is the group responsible have released a Google map, apparently, which reveals the locations, exact locations of the owners of the weapons, which, not only is the data breach, but there's a massive public safety issue there, isn't there?
Yeah.
Because they're identifying that at this particular address, there could be, a shotgun, a Section 1 firearm in a cabinet. Criminals aren't stupid. They use these things to commit all sorts of nasty offences. Yeah. So, there's the potential for burglary. In the wider setting, there's the potential for more violent crime. So I don't know what the motivation was to actually. There's some suggestion that there was an animal rights group involved, but again, that's all speculation. Yeah. I don't know if that's the right.
Well, it certainly puts the gun owners at risk as well, doesn't it? Particularly if you know what guns they've got there, and some of them are very valuable. Yeah. And then there's the follow-on risk from people that being able to steal or target particular addresses if they want to steal firearms and use them in crime.
It's scary. And I think, if you are a firearms owner, then you really need to make sure your security is top notch. I know that, you've got to have cabinets and all that sort of stuff, but, alarms, all that sort of business, you just don't know. So
make sure you're obeying the rules as well. That you're not leaving guns out, that you are locking them away and things like that.
Yeah, a deadly data breach, that one. I'm just going to, if this isn't on the slide, but I've just seen something on Twitter about a hacking group called Ragnarlocker. And they are threatening now. They specialize in ransomware, but they're saying if you tell the police or if you go to a recovery firm, we're going to leak your data, regardless. So, they're up in the ante there again. So I thought I'd just throw that in. I've only just seen it on a tweet just now.
Yeah.
Employee risk. This follows a credit union employee in the States who's pleaded guilty to leaking huge amounts of corporate data, 21.3 gigabytes to be exact, in revenge for being fired. Well, it's easy to say that number, isn't it? 21.3 gigabytes. What's it actually mean? I thought I'd have to refresh my memory, but according to what the researcher did before we came on here, a gigabyte of data is 65,000 pages of Microsoft Word. So that gives you some sort of indication just how much data has been leaked by that individual.
Yeah.
Prevention. We talk about prevention all the time, don't we? And, giving somebody access to that amount of information at a press of a button, they can just get rid of it. It can probably completely cripple the company unless they've got a backup, and we always talk about backups as well.
Usually, and I have seen this in corporate environments. are you sure you want to delete this data? Yes or no? That isn't a protection for somebody who's acting maliciously, is it? I think Colin's frozen, or I am. Okay, looks like we might have lost Colin. So I'm just going to carry on a little bit, and then I'll log out myself. Hopefully Colin will log back in. And again, I don't know whether I'm speaking to anybody or whether I've been blanked out, but that's technology for you. In last week's Scam Watch, I've had quite a few people say to me, "What are these NFTs, Pete?" Hi, Colin.
Hi, mate. I don't know what happened there. It completely went. I'll bring up the slides for you. Sorry about that. I don't know if it was my
it's okay.
slide.
I've carried on. Yeah. So if you could put up my slide, if you would.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I just found myself talking to myself.
Yeah. I found that quite a few people have asked me what NFTs are, but in two ways, people asking me, this looks like a really, really good opportunity to make a lot of money. It's a good idea. It's novel. But also, what is the risk for fraud? Initially, so what is an NFT? Well, it's actually NFT stands for non-fungible token. Simple term, it's a unique digital token for artworks or sculptures, and that's it. There's no painting, statue, or even a print. You get a token. The NFTs are purchased in crypto by auction, and if you've got the winning bid, once you've paid, you can't get your money back. It's a weird idea, I think, to most people, but there again, crypto was a weird idea to most people, and now it's become part of our daily lives, both legitimately, semi-legitimately, I would say, as well, in terms of things like tax avoidance and evasion, but also in terms of fraud. But we've already had a fraud now, or an alleged fraud, is where £336,000 was paid by a collector for an NFT which was passed off as the work of Banksy. The fraudster, you can see the image there, by the way, that's not the digital token, it's just the representation of it. The alleged fraudster has supposedly refunded the collector. I worry a little bit that the artwork was by Banksy, who's known for mischief, and apparently the victim is called Pranksy. So I do worry that it's just that it's a publicity stunt, that it might not have actually happened. But it certainly will be happening. And all it does really in simple terms, it's another innovation where the right people making the right decisions and with a bit of luck can make a lot of money. So it's another version really of retina eye scans. It used to be the retina eye scan, boiler room scams, the crypto scams, the PPE scams that we've seen during COVID, whiskey and wine vats, and art. So there's legitimate money that can be made, but also they are used to fool people into thinking that they're investing in something legitimate, when in actuality it's all part of a fraud or a scam. Why should that be of interest to all of you if you're not an art collector or an investor? Well, first of all, we always need to keep up to date and stay relevant. So if we hear of something new, you might want to consider the opportunity of it. I've got some friends of mine who do quite well out of crypto. but they certainly don't do well out of crypto by joining a crypto club, where they're going to get paid out after 7 days. But for you guys that are out there now, if you're a lender, you've got to remember that people borrow to invest in scams. They get carried away. So we see quite a lot of people, particularly with the crypto scams, that they fall for the first bit, and then for the second bit, they go and borrow money using credit cards or bank loans, even remortgages. If you're an insurer and somebody's been hit with a loss, then it might motivate them into committing some kind of insurance claims fraud. If you're a bank, they might blame you for the loss, for not warning them, that sending £80,000 into a crypto account wasn't a good idea. But also if you're an auction house, a retailer, or an artist yourself, then there's the danger from clone websites. So, it take a lot more time to actually go through the specific risks. All I want to do is cover the headline now, mainly so that we all know what NFTs actually are. There's a lot of abbreviations and terms used out there that we don't understand. So that's it from me, Colin.
Thank you, Peter. I don't know what happened there. I completely lost it. My screen went black. Just as we were talking about ransomware and hackers. They talk about NFTs because it must be about 15 years ago. A friend of mine, another former cop, told me he had he was confronted with somebody at the counter back early 2000, I think, and they said, "I've had my digital sword stolen on World of Warcraft. Can you investigate it, please?" And didn't have a clue what he was talking about. But, no, that's really, and I think we touched on the potential there for money laundering as well in the post the weekend, didn't we? On Friday.
Yeah. They are going to, are already is used within money laundering, or as our friend Paul Sandlands would say, money laundering.
Yeah, it's very good.
Like the put on that one. Yeah.
Cracking, one of the best hashtags I've seen for a little while.
Yeah.
So how can we help you? We offer consultancy collectively and individually. We can offer you CPD certified training and e-learning. We do investigations, all sorts of things. And obviously, we've got the IRIS risk assessment tool. We can help you with guided cyber risk assessments, guided fraud assessments, business risk, technology risk, etc., etc. So feel free to get in touch. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Peter.
Okay. Main thing is let's be careful out there. But also remember, if you come to me and Colin, we're highly resourceful when things go wrong.
Yeah,
we keep on going.
Yeah,
cheers.
Good problem solvers. All right, and thank you very much, everybody. And thank you, Mike and Paul, for chipping in. And we'll see you next week.